Trump's own reaction to his own assassination attempt kind of proves how much of a slime bag he really is. So, you would think, right, that when somebody has a trigger with death, most of the time they have a little bit of self-reflection, right? That's what tends to happen to people. They screw up too hard, they almost die, whatever, and then they understand that, hey, I am mortal. You finally get confronted with a sense of your own mortality, and you realize that, life isn't all about the stupid shit that you thought life was about, and maybe you should do better, because you're going to die someday, and do you want your legacy to be that of a insane authoritarian Cheeto-dusted asshole? Or do you want people to actually look back on you with something positive? And it looked like for half a second, Donald Trump may have been going through this sort of existential crisis, and maybe he finally might start toning the lies and shit down. That's what it looked like there. There was actual reporting that he was going to try to bring the country together. Here's the thing that I wanted to show you guys. Trump says he's changed convention speech to help bring the country together. We don't really need to read very much of this, but let's read his quote. The speech I was going to give on Thursday was going to be a humdinger, Trump said in an interview with the Washington Examiner. Had this not happened, this would have been one of the most incredible speeches, aimed mostly at the policies of President Biden, he added, according to the newspaper. Honestly, it's going to be a whole different speech now. This is a chance to bring the whole country, even the world, together. This speech will be a lot different than it would have been 2 days ago. Well, if you actually watched the RNC speech, which admittedly I didn't, I read through a transcript of his speech. Well, I didn't actually read through it, I skimmed through it because it was like 7 pages long. Apparently he went on for like fucking 90 minutes with this speech. It just went on and on and on. I'm not watching 90 minutes of Donald Trump talking. Fuck that. Sorry, I'm just not going to do it. I did skim through the transcript of his speech, and at the beginning, it kind of looks like, yeah, maybe he's trying to actually do something a little bit good. Maybe he's going to like tone down the rhetoric and stop with the lies. By the end of the speech, it was just the same fucking bullshit that he always fucking says. He claimed that the federal documents case was fake. He claimed that the Democrats are weaponizing the justice system. No, Donald, the Democrats aren't doing that. You're just a fucking criminal. Criminals get prosecuted. He claimed that the Democrats are engaging in partisan witch hunts, the same shit that he always fucking says. All right. He lied about his own COVID response, said that it was the best COVID. It was not. Right. He lied about his economy. He bragged about his tax cuts. It's the same shit that he always says every fucking time. Lied about immigration, saying that it's terrible, blah, 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 blah. Do conservatives really give that much of a fuck about tax cuts? A bunch of rich people get tax cuts. Do you really fucking care? It's like, no, I don't fucking care. In fact, that pisses me off when rich people get tax cuts. Fuck them. They should be paying taxes like everybody else. So yeah, he's completely fucking just, that ship sailed. And even if in his own mind he thinks he's trying to bring the country together, in real life, it's just the same fucking stupid shit that he's been saying this whole time. And if you look a little bit deeper, you can see that the real actual reaction of Donald Trump to his own assassination is, of course, to make money. Grifters and shit were already selling t-shirts with that image of Donald Trump doing the fist pump. Like the next day, I found shit like that. But Donald Trump was actually selling Trump sneakers with a fight, fight, fight high top thing on it. It's funny, if you actually go to his page, his product page, those are not there anymore. But you can actually see this. President Trump's official fight shoes. Fight, fight, fight. Only 2,025, each pair officially numbered. Right. But no, he actually was selling sneakers with a photo of him with the fist pump on it. And it looked like this. So these actually were on his website. And now they're not selling them anymore. But literally within a week, this was Donald Trump. He was selling these for $299 each. assassination attempt shoes. For fuck's sake. That's what Donald Trump is fucking doing. That's how he reacted to him almost dying. Other people out there would almost die, and they would say, you know, I gotta do something good for the world. What does Donald Trump do? He puts the fucking photo of him 5 seconds after he almost had his head blown off on a fucking shoe and sells it for $300. That's Donald Trump's fucking reaction, alright? The guy hasn't even bothered to call the family of the dude who took a fucking bullet for him. Donald Trump hasn't called the family of a man killed at his rally. Let's go ahead and read a little bit of this. The wife of Corey Comparatori? Is that his last name? Corey Comparatori? Okay. The man who lost his life to a bullet possibly intended for Donald Trump has yet to hear from the former president, she told the New York Post on Monday evening. The 50-year-old former fire chief was killed at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday when he tried to shield his wife and daughters from the gunfire. His spouse, Helen Comparatori, said that her husband was a hero, telling the Post that his last words to his family were, "Get down." She confirmed that while she hadn't heard from Trump, President Joe Biden had indeed reached out. However, she refused to take the call. "I didn't talk to Biden. I didn't want to talk to him," she said. "My husband was a devout Republican, and he would not have wanted me to talk to him." She added that she didn't blame Biden for her husband's death, but she was voting for Trump and was not very involved in politics. "I don't have any ill will towards Biden," she told the Post. "He didn't do anything to my husband. A 20-year-old despicable kid did." Well, at least she was cool enough to not try to blame Biden for this. I mean, I half expected her to, but she didn't, so okay, that's fine. Kind of despicable, though, that she wouldn't take the President of the United States call. And then I like how she said, "Oh yeah, we're not involved in politics," even though you were at a Trump rally. I mean, that kind of sounds like being involved in politics, right? You're not involved in politics, you're just at a rally for a guy that you're going to vote for. That's the same thing as being involved in politics. But whatever. That's totally cool. And hey, the man is dead, so let's not make fun of him or his spouse or whatever. Some people online are doing that. They're pointing out the political positions that this man, Corey Comparatori, actually had. And it turns out that he didn't seem to be the nicest of people. But you know what? He's dead. So leave the man alone. He was murdered. And once someone is dead and their family is grieving, they should be off limits for your canceling. Okay, you shouldn't be canceling people that are recently deceased. I'm not going to show any of that stuff. Like, apparently he posted some things that were like some bigoted stuff against immigrants and stuff like that. And you know what? Forget about it. His family, they don't need to see that kind of shit. They don't need to see random internet assholes making fun of their dead father. That's bullshit. I would like to point out how Donald Trump hasn't even bothered to call them yet. And one thing he said in his speech last night was that he was going to raise money for his family, for Corey Comparatori's family. Who wants to bet that they never see $1 of that money? I'm putting my money down right now and betting that they never get 1 red cent. Like, he said that he raised $6 million. They're not going to get shit from that. I guarantee you right now, all of that money is going directly into Donald Trump's pockets. They aren't going to see a goddamn thing. That's exactly what's going to fucking happen, because Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about people. I don't understand why people don't get that the man is a sociopath. He does not give a fuck about other people. This is a man who ripped off his own charity. For fuck's sake. He started a charity. He took money for his charity. And then he took the money from the charity and bought a fucking portrait of himself for like thousands of dollars. That's Donald Trump, all right? Donald Trump has a history of ripping people off. Okay, you remember the Trump University thing? People show up, pay all this money, and you're going to get instructions from Donald Trump himself, and you'll get an opportunity to meet him and all that, and we're going to teach you how to do business. They didn't get any of that stuff. They gave him all this money. They didn't get any instruction whatsoever. And when it came time to meet Donald Trump, what they did is they showed up with a fucking cardboard cutout and said, "Here you go. Here's a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump, and you could take pictures with it." Thousands of dollars people paid for that shit. This is what Donald Trump actually is. This is what he actually does. He's not going to change just because someone almost shot him. Why would you think that? Why would anybody think that? It's a man who's gotten away with every fucking crazed wackaloon fucking scheme he's ever done in his entire life, and has never been held accountable for anything because he's rich. And now he's skirted death too. He must be feeling like he's fucking invincible right now. What makes you think that he's gonna share anything with anybody? Complete and total bullshit. And you know, the thing is, I'll end on this last little bit. It looks like people aren't falling for it. See, I thought that he was gonna get a boost after this. Me and lots of other people. Now, I'm not the only one. If you look at lots of other YouTube commentators, they all thought the same thing. You know, Vosh put out a video basically saying it's over and stuff like that. Everybody thought, oh shit, the next poll is gonna come out and Trump is gonna be 50 points ahead. And it's over, we might as well throw in the towel. And you know what? That's not what happened. He didn't get any post-assassination bump in the polls at all. There are polls that have come out, and it's like, he got like less than a point. It's nothing. After the fucking assassination attempt, people aren't falling for it, is what's going on. People know who Donald Trump is, right? We went through 4 years of this fucking asshole as the president. We saw what a shitty fucking president he was. And here's the other thing about Donald Trump is that he's never been out of the news for the last 4 years. Every single day, there's been news about Donald Trump, specifically about what a fucking asshole he is, what a criminal he is, how he fucks people over. Stuff like that. There's a news story every single day, either about him getting arrested, or about him committing some fucking crime, or about him getting sued by somebody, or about him raping fucking E. Jean Carroll. Something like that, you know, then defaming her over and over and have to fucking pay her like $90 million because he keeps fucking defaming her. Shit like that over and over. Nothing but negative news about this guy for years. So people know who he is. And just the fact that somebody tried to shoot him, like, now I'm supposed to vote for him now because I'm supposed to, what, feel sorry for him? Because someone tried to shoot him? Fuck that. No, fuck that and fuck him. And you know what? I'm not the only one, because he didn't get any fucking post bump in the polls at all. The polls are exactly where the fuck they were right before the shooting. Because people aren't falling for his dumbass. People aren't falling for the sob story. You know, the thing is, I really thought they were going to. I really thought, and I think it probably would have, like, if it actually turned out that the shooter was, like, a Democrat, I think it probably would have gotten a bigger bump. But it turns out, no, he's just a crazy, insane, conservative Republican asshole, just like the rest of them, just like every other fucking mass shooter out there, just like every other deranged fucking lunatic who shows up at a country music concert or something with a gun and murders 50 people. Just like he's just the same fucking shit, and it's a result of Republicans refusing to do something about guns. They got nobody but themselves to blame. And so people were just like, oh, well, you know, them chickens kind of came home to roost just a little bit. So, yeah, I'm not sorry. These things need to be said. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one. The election's not over. This is the last thing I'm going to end with, right? I'm going to end with this. Election is not over. It's July. We got plenty of time. The polls are exactly where they were. There's plenty of time. Lots of things can happen in between now and November. I mean, honestly, though, I don't give a fuck who the Democrats run. I'm voting for them. I don't care. They could run a balloon with a happy face on it. Literally like a red balloon with like a smiley face drawn in Sharpie. And I'll vote for that over Donald Trump.
Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.